Hello. I am so pumped that you guys are here. I am going to share with you as you lean in with me right now on a topic that when you actually just lean in and do what I tell you to do, okay? It is going to be the thing that could absolutely just change your life, okay? Today, I want to talk to you about visualization, okay? Everybody's heard of visualization. Everybody's heard of visualization. But the majority of people aren't actually doing it because they don't understand its power. They don't understand its power. And so frequently, I'm going to teach you how to do some visualization today. So don't worry about that. But frequently, when I speak to people about visualization and I'm teaching them how it works, two of the same kind of questions come up. Okay. The first is, how do I come up with a clear image of what I actually want? I know what I want, right? We've already decided, we've already identified what they want. First, I guess step one would be decide what you want. Know what you want. Okay. Then you can come up with a clear image of what you want. And then the second question that I always get with them, or the third, I guess, would be, is how do you act or feel as though you already have what you desire? And these are really, really great questions because as humans, we get really caught up in the how. Like, how do I actually do this? Okay. So those are what I want to focus on to show you how to actually get this done. Okay. So first things first, you actually have to know what you want. Most people don't know how to make decisions. They don't know how to even take that first step because they don't even know what they want. I love to ask people my number one question. I've probably asked you this at some point. If time and money weren't a thing, what do you want? And then they go, oh man, like time and money weren't a thing. What do I want? And then they'll still they can't decide. Okay. When you know where you're going, like this ocean that I live on now is not an accident. I visualized this ocean, this house constantly. This actual house that we're in is I attribute it to visualization. Okay. So when we first, I'm just going to tell you this story. When we first decided that we were going to sell everything in Canada and move to Barbados, first place, I was like, I don't know. I've never even been to Barbados before. Like, I don't know where to look. So, and I didn't even know what housing was going to be like. So I gravitated to the first spot that I knew, Airbnb. Okay. So I go on Airbnb and I start looking at houses and I find this one and I send it to Dave and I say, this is what I want. And he was like, that is gorgeous. But then his paradigms start coming in, right? He's just like, we're not spending that much money on it. We're not blah, 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 blah. Okay. That's all I heard was la, 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 la. Okay. And that's what you have to hear too. Okay. When someone else's paradigms come in hard. And I said, listen, you do you. This is the house I want. Like if I'm selling everything here, moving out of this house that I love, out of the neighborhood that I love, like I want this or better. So happy house hunting because he really loves to do that stuff more than me. So my only job after this, okay? And had I not been doing the work that I do on myself, the old me would have my head would have been spinning and, how are we going to get this done? And I was like, no, my only job now, I found a house that I love. It was the first house I legitimately pulled up. My only job now is to hold that image. Obviously, I had an image of what the house was. Okay. I went through the post on Airbnb. Guys, I knew the layout of this house before I even got here. Okay. Like I had it mapped out. I'm like, oh, I think this is where the bedrooms are. I'm pretty sure this window is the kitchen and this window is the bathroom and this window's okay. Like I knew. So I had these pictures. That was my vision. That was my image that I wanted, that I desired in my mind. My only job was to hold that image in my mind until I got it. Okay. So while Dave and he had a contact here, Sandy, who works for Barbados, they're going back and forth on what she's sending us houses, and she's coordinating everything. She's brilliant, by the way. Super grateful for Sandy. So they're doing all that back and forth stuff. I'm literally visualizing. Okay. And this looked like, honestly, it looked like a lot of different things. It looked like before bed, I would look at pictures of the Airbnb and then I would close my eyes and I would literally be walking around the house. I'd walk in the front door. My diffuser was there so I could smell what it smelled like. I could see what the floor was going to look like. So I felt the floor under my feet. I would like put my keys in a basket and then I would like head on upstairs and I would walk to the bedroom and I like literally I walked through the house and I had done it so many times. Okay. So for 10 days passed. I gave Dave this house that I wanted. 10 days pass. Him and Sandy are going back and forth. And I'm not kidding you. One day, Dave and I are sitting around our island at our old house. And Sandy messages Dave and is like, oh my gosh, I just found a house. It meets all of your qualifications. And it's because you want it for an extended period of time. They're going to give you 70% off, which justified Dave's paradigm, right? I was just like, this is the house I want. But he was like all of the things. Okay. And Dave opens up the link and guess what house it was? It was my house. It was this house. And Dave looks at me and he goes, how did you do that? And I said, visualization. And it was done. And it was done 10 days. I was actually a little shocked. It took me 10 days. I've done quicker. Okay. You can also play around with this on like small things. Like I desire a kick-ass parking spot. Every time I drive into a parking lot, I visualize myself getting, those drive-in, drive-out spots where you don't have to like back up at all. Okay. Those are my favorite. Okay. I picture myself driving into a parking spot. Okay. So I get a drive-in, drive-out. And it's like not out in the middle of nowhere. Like it's like going to be easy to find when I come out the door when I'm finished. Okay. And I get them every single time and I'm expectant of it. Okay. So you also want an expectant attitude. So even the whole time I'm holding the vision of this house, I was just like, it's mine. It's done. This or better. This or better. I just kept saying that, this or better. Okay. And so this is where, and some people say like, well, how do you know like what's better or not? Well, you'll feel it. You'll feel it. You have a standard for your life and you hold the vision for it. Okay. But first you got to know what you want. Okay. And you are not alone if you even struggle with coming up with a picture of the person that you want to be. It's hard for many people to hold a new vision of themselves because you are so used to being who you are. I was the exact same way. And even I still am the exact same way. I've recently had to go through just even getting the guts to move here. I had to do a complete self-image makeover. I had to become the person who then, it wasn't enough for me just to visualize this house and like live in this atmosphere. I had to become the person who actually had the guts to do it. Okay. Because it was one thing for people to say, oh my God, you're so brave, like taking action on your life. And I'm like, yeah, I guess. I did it scared. Trust me. But what got me through the fear was knowing where I was going. I could see it. And I walked into this house and I was like, I've been here before. And it doesn't matter whether it's with a house or a parking spot or your bank account looks different or your job looks different or your health looks different. This is where anybody that comes to me, that I also encourage people to have health goals, and they'll say to me, I desire to release 100 pounds. I'm like, awesome. Then it's done. And you wouldn't desire it if it wasn't meant to be. But you first have to believe that you can do it And you have to be able to see yourself as already released the 100 pounds. What do you look like? What do you feel like? What are you wearing? When you walk into a room, what's it feel like? Okay. This is the type you have to get that vision in your mind. And if you can hold it in your mind, it's guaranteed by law, you'll hold it in your hand. Guaranteed. Okay, but allow yourself to do this and move your life beyond anything you could have ever imagined before. Doing things you've never done, going places you've never been. Allow your mind to do that. Okay, and pay attention as you loosen up, because your heart's desire is like your spirit is seeking expression. Okay, as this happens, you will have this new life inside of you, and you'll be motivated to get where you want to go. Okay, so don't, when you are exposed to something that you go, oh, I want that. I want that. I can't tell you, Dave and I, every day, I bet you, once we had made the decision to move to Barbados, every day one of us was getting a, oh, I wish I could do that. And our response every single time was, you can. All you have to do is A, believe you can do it and know where you're going, and then hold the vision. But we are programmed to not believe in ourselves. We are told from childhood, be safe, that's too risky. Be careful. And then we stop using our imagination because we're told to get our heads out of the cloud and get a real job and be safe. As long as it has a pension and benefits, you're safe. And then we stop dreaming. And then you come find me when you're 40, 50, 60 years old. Sometimes you wake up sooner. Sometimes. Every once in a while, I'll get a 20 or 30-year-old. Every once in a while. And it's just a wake up where you go, there's got to be something different that I can do, because what I've been doing for the last 40 years isn't working. Okay, but you have to feel as if you already have what you desire. A big part of this, you guys, is the feeling that you already have it. And to do that, you have to use your imagination to get beyond what you're currently experiencing, to get beyond your current reality. Okay, when I was living in a subdivision in Ontario, Canada, in suburbia, I couldn't imagine living on an ocean in Barbados because I'd never done that before. So I had to do things like, this is where, like, I looked at the pictures of this house. I was Googling pictures of Barbados because I'd never even been to Barbados before. I was like, how's this going to work? I don't know. But you're a storehouse of images. So I had been to an island before, so I kept borrowing the images that I had from being on different islands. Okay, but it's not even just the things you've seen. It's the things that you've imagined. And those images are so powerful. And if you pull them up, they will engage your body and your spirit and your mind, and you will become unstoppable. Okay, and one of the keys to learning to live in an imaginative way is accepting that everything you can imagine has, in some part of it, a truth for you. That you would not imagine it if you were not meant to have it. Like, really think about this for a minute. Everything you see that was created by a human is a duplicate. The original was in the mind, in the imagination of the person that created it. Things are created twice. first in the mind, these AirPods. Someone said, dang, it's a pain in the butt to be hooked up to a cord while you're listening to stuff. What would it look like if we had Bluetooth signal sent to earbuds? What would that look like? First, it was created here. Then someone got to work and created these. Okay, so really pay attention to that. So everything's been created twice. So if you can imagine it, it already exists. You just haven't held it in your hand yet. Think about that. If you've already imagined it, it already exists in one form or another. And now the more details you give it, the more you'll begin to accept it because you've seen it in your mind. You're like, do you know that? Have you ever tried to like even draw something? You're like, I see it in my mind. I know what I want. Or like, I remember when I was decorating my house and I was looking for a specific style of chair or a specific throw or a specific pillow. I'm like, I know what I want. I've seen it. I've seen it done. And then you go to every store and you're like, that's it. That's what I need. That's what I want. Okay, it's already created. The original is in the mind, in the imagination of the person that created it. So if you imagine it, it exists. And then you have to give it details. And anything that goes through the imagination has a right to live, period. Anything that goes through your imagination. Even if you're like, I want to be the world's first, what comes after trillion? Gazillionaire. Say that. Let's just say that. Okay? It doesn't matter. Who cares if there isn't one yet? The fact that you desire it, it's already done. Okay? So first, here's a little exercise to get your imagination going. Okay? Really pay attention to this. Okay? So everybody just close your eyes. Okay? So picture yourself, you're walking along a country road. Okay? Notice the sky. Is it clear or are there clouds? Where's the sun? Is the road narrow? Is it smooth? Is it bumpy? Do you feel rocks under your feet? And beside you, when you look beside you on the road, like there's a fence that lines the road. Really look at that fence. What's it made of? What condition is it in? Look at the grass as it grows up the fence. Look at the color of the grass. How tall is it? And on the other side of the fence, you can see horses and they're grazing on the inside of the fence. I want you to count how many horses there are. What color are they? What sounds are they making? What's it smell like? And you're walking and you're looking at them and you're mesmerized. And then in the distance, you see some flowers. And as you pass them, you stop and you pick them up. And you have a water bottle that you're carrying, so you stop and you take a drink from it. You smell the flowers. How do they feel? How do they smell? Feel the water going into your mouth and down your throat. How does it feel? How does it taste? What else do you notice? What other things can you take in through your 5 senses? Okay, now come back. Allow yourself to exercise your imagination by creating scenes like this, minimum 5 minutes a day, until you come up with an image of what you want. And then you build the image of what you desire in all of its detail. For the last 2 years, you guys, I have been imaging. This is where imagining comes from. I've been imaging in my mind a lake house that I was building, but I assumed it was going to be on a lake in Ontario because I was surrounded by the Great Lakes. I have imaged so many times talking to you guys with a large body of water behind me because I pictured doing my work out on this beautiful patio where I could see my kids playing. I've imaged this. So it's almost like it's mind-blowing when I like do this now. I'm like, oh, here's me, here's the water. This is really cool. But at the same time, I'm like, of course, I've done that before. I've done it before. And I exercise my imagination all the time. Okay. We are told that imagination is just for little kids, but it is the most amazing tool that you have. You're just not using it. Okay. And each time you see the picture, bring more life to it. Bring in more of your five senses. And when you identify what it is that you want and start to bring more life and feeling to it, it's done. It's done. Assume it's already done. Assume it's already done. I want you to play around with this. Really play around with it. Because you can be, do, and have anything you want, I promise. But you have to get your mind there first. And it's done through visualization. It's a tool that you have in your toolbox right now. It's free. You can do it anywhere. You want a dream car? You want that Jaguar? Every time you hop in your Civic, you have to imagine that you are driving the Jaguar. You got to get your butt to the dealership and start test driving them so you know what it smells like, what it feels like, what the engine sounds like. Okay, and you give it life. But when you hear catchy sayings like we only go as far as our imagination allows us, that is the truth. It is the truth. So commit 5 minutes a day. 5 minutes. That's it. And see how much your life changes. Deal? Awesome. You guys are incredible. Thank you for joining me. Lean into that and apply it, my friends, because without action, you just took a bunch of stuff in and not even going to change your life with it. So go change your life. Deal? Awesome. See you guys. Have a good day.